Welcome back, guys, and today we've got plenty of cards in a mail time video. I just thought I'd do this sort of video because I've had quite a few items come from both English cards and Japanese cards. One of these shipments is actually from Japan, so there are some pretty cool cards in it. I enjoy watching other people's videos of this, so I thought you guys might enjoy mine as well. So as you can see, I've taken all the packages out of the envelopes and stuff like that. They're just in, essentially, their inner padding to protect the cards, and we'll crack them open now. So starting with this bright blue envelope, which is basically a piece of cardboard that's been folded over to protect it. You know what? It doesn't matter. As long as it protects the card, it doesn't have to look fancy. And in this first one, we've got a Starmie V from the trainer gallery. This is TG13. I am trying to get quite a lot of these trainer galleries at the moment to send off to PSA because my PSA submission will be going off fairly soon. Look at that. It's got to be one of the best trainer galleries from this set, and it looks like it is in pretty decent nick. So this one will definitely be going off to PSA. The centering's good. All the corners are good. I'd say that's a decent card. Got our card sleeves and our card savers at the ready. As this one will be going off to PSA, it is going to go straight into a card saver. And it is, I understand now, when I'm watching people on YouTube make these videos and they're struggling to get stuff in the center of the frame, I understand now because I'm trying to look through the camera to see where I'm actually positioning this card so you guys can see it. And it's not the easiest, to be honest. Now, the second card you might have already seen, and as I was saying, I am trying to get a lot of these trainer galleries. And Umbreon, well, it's an iconic card, isn't it? We've got the Moonbreon at the moment, but even throughout all the years, Umbreon, Espeon, any of the evolutions, but especially Umbreon, has been very, very popular. And once again, nicely packaged, nice and safe, got here without any additional damage to the card. Nicely scented, maybe slightly top to bottom, a little bit heavy, but again, in really, really good nick. And just look at that. It's like Umbreon with the trainer behind. It just looks incredible. Moonlight Blade 80 plus, so this Pokemon has any damage counters on it. This attack does 80 more damage. You can potentially hit for 160 for 3 energy, with only one of them having to be a dark energy. Half decent if you ask me. And obviously, as it's a single strike, is this the one where you can attach a double energy on and you get them 70 extra damage, is it, or is that Fusion Strike? One of them. Once again, tucked into a card saver. I'm going to say it might get a 9 because of that top to bottom centering, but apart from that, this card is immaculate. So say if it even came back as an odd, I'd keep it in my personal collection because apart from that centering, I know this is a pristine card. Keeping the theme going of trainer galleries, we have a Darkrai V-Star. This one is from the Crown Zenith set, which has obviously recently just had its last product released for it, being the Ultra Premium Collection, of which we've opened one of them and did very well out of. I think these cards are going to do really, really well because just look at that artwork. It's like Darkrai floating in this mystical area. There's like a portal at the back over there where perhaps he came out of from another realm. It's just the cards that they're producing now with these alternate arts are incredible pieces of art, I'd say. You know, before you used to get cool cards and they used to have pretty standard designs and then the holofoil and make them special, whereas on these new ones, just the artwork, it is more like a piece of art now than a piece of cardboard. Like, say if you look at these three, I do actually believe these would look really good displayed together. Perhaps maybe a little bit of uniformity between all of them, maybe some similar colours. But you could actually display trainer gallery cards and they would look really, really good side by side. And speaking of side by side, we'll actually do these two cards together. We have a Flareon and a Vaporeon trainer gallery again. But can you imagine putting these two next to each other? You've also got the Jolteon that would pretty much complete the trio, wouldn't it? Whereas these cards at the top were probably more, well, they were more expensive. It's something like £30, £15 and £15, something along those lines. These are a couple of bob each. And I think these cards are going to do really, really well long term. Just again, because of the artwork, it's just incredible. I'm going to say I must have ordered about 3 or 4 of these Flareons now, and unfortunately none of them have been grade worthy. So we'll see if this one will be the first decent one. And I'm going to say it's not, guys. Can you see down this one side here? It's like little bits of paper flicked out. I'm trying to sort of usher it so you can see it. It looks like it's almost been cut with an additional sort of bit of string of cardboard down the side, and so I don't think this is going to be gradable either. As I say, I've had a lot of problems with these Flareons from a quality point of view. From the front, the print, it's fine. But with regards to the edges, it looks like there's just like little flicks of cardboard just sticking out the side. And you know what? The person sending this Flareon even padded it out with other just bulk cards, and it's not got damage in transport. It's just that print quality, or that cut quality rather. Okay, so let's have a look if this Flareon is any better. it does actually look like the sides are a whole lot better, and this one might actually be gradable. But you know what, instead of having the fluff on the sides, this Vaporeon has that sort of fluff on the top edge. I don't know if this is a common issue, guys, or whether you guys have had this same problem. There's just like little fluffy bits coming off the top that is still attached to the card on the cut edge, like along there. I don't know whether these are going to go to PSA or not. If not, I've already got probably 3 or 4 of these Flareons in the binder already, so I'm quite happy keeping them as a binder copy just to look at. Okay, so now we have a bit of a bulk order from a seller. So we got about 6 items, I want to say, from this one person, and there's some pretty cool ones in here. There's also an order from Japan still to come, and there's one really big hitter card in here that I'm going to leave right till the end. It's an expensive one. So starting with this English bulk lot from one seller. And when I'm talking about bulk, guys, I don't mean they are bad cards. I mean that I've just bought a large quantity from one seller. So as you can see, we've got 2, 4, 6 cards, including one Japanese one. So we're going to flip these over one by one. The first one is another Umbreon. Again, same thing, isn't it? Top to bottom is off, and maybe slightly right to left. Maybe it's a common issue with these cards. But again, take that top to bottom error off. You can see the difference really on the back there with the blue borders. But take that error off it, and this is again an absolutely immaculate card. So another great addition. And we are just going to send it off to see if we can get a decent grade. Maybe slip a 10. I don't know if that'll be within the tolerance. The PSA video will also be coming pretty soon, guys, because I do have enough cards now, I'd say, to send off, and I'm pretty happy with where it's at to make it worthwhile to send from the UK to PSA. Then the next card is the big hitter of this order, a Dialga V-Star. Obviously, we pulled the Gold Arceus from the Crown Zenith Premium box, and this seller had a really good price on this Dialga for this sort of bulk lot deal, and I just picked it up. Again, in really good nick. It's got a, if you can see, it's got a slight bend to it, but that will soon come out of it when it gets put in the semi-rigid. But again, a really cool artwork, and just look at that Dialga just sort of like jumping out, if I can get the right angle on it, jumping out in this sort of sandstorm or wherever he might even be. And it's even cooler because I am currently playing the Dialga V-Star deck, which is my first ever deck that I've made while playing competitively, and it would just be a cool little memento to keep in as a sort of a nicer version of the cards that I was using in my deck, and a little memento to remember the first time that I ever played competitively. Okay, so now the Japanese card in there is going to be a Snorlax, and I know we've been talking about these trainer galleries, and I have got another one here, but I think these look so much better in the silver border, so I am considering picking up some Japanese ones as well, because the design of the art just smooths into the borders so much better. The yellow is quite abrupt and does sort of create a clear partition, whereas the silver just sort of blends in more. And it's just Snorlax enjoying his lunch with probably his master, and I'm assuming this is the Snorlax, like the Pokemon Go, that has this block ability that means that you can't, well, your opponent can't switch as active Pokemon, so it does sort of stop your comfy decks, your Lost Zone decks from really setting up. So back with the English cards then, but sticking with the trainer gallery, more of a premium one now, Zamazenta. Obviously we just opened a Zacian box, and I did try and get a Zacian one of these, but I tried to negotiate with the seller, but we didn't come to a price, so maybe that'll be something that I get in a future video. I guess this sort of calls back to the Sword and Shield game when you find Zacian or Zamazenta, depending on what game you're playing, in the forest for the first time. I'd say this hops back to that, and it's just some incredible colours. You don't often see this colour combination, especially like a purple or something like that, on Pokemon cards, and so this is just, it's just a really attractive card, to be honest. And unlike the Umbreons, a really good centering, and unlike the Vaporeon and Flareon, a really clean cut, so that is going to be a nice card. And again, I think this is a really cool one to display, because just the colours, just look at the colours, you don't often get a card like this. Okay, into the final 2 for this lot, and wow, again, the trainer gallery from Crown Zenith, and a Glaceon V-Star. So, you know what? It really does sort of hark back to the Evolving Skies Glaceon, where he's on the ice, I think it is, with loads of other different Pokemon around it. So this one isn't as cool because you haven't got all those other interactions with different Pokemon. But doesn't it just look good still? It looks really, really good. And the final card from this seller is going to be a Charizard with Leon in the background. This is another trainer gallery, not from Crown Zenith this time. Also, guys, I will be having my first ever ace grading return very, very soon, of which I've sent a lot of, well, of which I've sent 8 modern cards just to test it out to see how long it takes, what the slabs look like really in person with the ace grading. I've got some normal ace slabs without all the fancy stuff, but I wanted to see what the ace label was like. They're not the highest value cards, but we wanted to try it, and it'll make a cool little return video. It'll only be a short one, but we might then grade some more of them like these special cards.